What is up, my pretty little vampires? Today, we are going to be reacting to Cheeky Chucky's Why Final Destination Makes No Sense. Again, please show support for the original creator. This is just a reaction video where I share my thoughts on his video and basically just like the conclusions he comes to. And originally, I was going to try to keep it tech related, but I am a big fan of Final Destination, and honestly, I definitely don't mind recording a reaction video about it because I haven't seen all the Final Destinations, but I have seen a lot of the recent ones, and I definitely think it would be cool to kind of take a look into the mindset of another person who's also seen it. And for those of you that don't know, the reason why I do a lot of these videos as well is because I do love the psychology behind people. So it's actually one of the reasons I even got into ethical hacking and cybersecurity. Because you have to break into the minds of people and you have to think the way threat actors think. You have to understand them and kind of put yourself in their shoes to understand how to best handle different, issues that you might come across. Anyways, I've wasted enough time with this intro. I bet most of you are here for the reaction on this, so without further ado, let's get into this, my pretty little vampires.
Death is supposed to be silent and inevitable, and then you take a look at Final Destination, where death sends the protagonist a preview, then a list, then a schedule.
So, fun quick comment already. Death, silent, scheduled. Yeah, I can list a couple of war veterans that would beg to differ with you, my friend. Would beg to differ with you greatly. I don't think mortars, tanks, and massive explosions are quite silent, my friend. Anyways, let's continue.
Why? Oh, and supposedly he has rules, but he broke them every single movie. Those are not the only things that make no sense, but there is a reason this franchise has run for 6 films, and it has nothing to do with death. So, what's that reason? To get to that reason, we first have to walk through everything.
The reason is money. That's the takeaway. The reason is money. It made good sales and they made more. Problem solved.
Wrong with this franchise, or well, wrong might not be the best word because I love the franchise, really. Just things that don't add up. There's a lot. And the first thing appears before Death has even shown up himself. Alex Browning is on Flight 180. He gets a vision of the plane exploding and, obviously he freaks out. And he gets a group off
As
the
most
plane.
would.
The plane explodes anyway. So, that's the opening. And it's the move that breaks the franchise. Death is the antagonist of this entire story. Death's whole job is silent and inevitable, so why is he sending Alex a nice little trailer? What does he get out of warning the target? The franchise...
So, real quick, before he even answers this, I want to give my thoughts to this, okay? I want to see if they match up, right? I don't think Death itself is actually giving him these warnings at all. So, hear me out, right? I think either a third party is actually giving the warnings, like maybe the universe or God or whatever would be in that universe. Since death can be manifested, why wouldn't other things be able to be manifested if you think about it, right? So I really think that death doesn't really have control if they see the visions. The other possibility is that they're just born with a gift, and obviously death wouldn't have really much control over knowing who would have the gift because that's not death's job. Death's job is to just take the lives, kill, and make sure that the people who are supposed to die do die, even if he does fail a lot.
has answers, and none of them survive thinking about for more than 10 seconds. Defense 1, the vision is a gift. A psychic gift? Boom. Death is the bad guy here. He doesn't hand out gift cards, he kills people. Defense 2, the vision is a curse. A curse from death that helps the target escape death is the worst curse ever designed. If I curse you with the ability to dodge me, I've lost the fight before it started. And Defense 3, death needs the order to be witnessed. Whole forum threads on this one, by the way. The idea is death runs on some kind of cosmic ledger and someone has to see the deaths before they happen for them to be properly logged. which means Death, the supposedly omnipotent Reaper, runs on the same paperwork
I
system as the DMV.
don't think that.
Maybe ICE is a better comparison.
I think that's a bit
is
off.
the funniest. This vision happens because the protagonist was never supposed to die in the first place, which means Death made a clerical error and the universe corrected it, so now Death has to spend an entire film fixing his own mistake. The Mortician will explain all this later. Wait until you find out.
So I actually like option number 4 the most, and here's why. So option number 4, it just makes sense. Like, that I would go with, right? Like, if a person isn't supposed to die, it would make sense the universe corrects it, you know, given the universe theory that I projected earlier, and it would make sense that then Death, you know, obviously has to go and deal with the consequences, because that one person who wasn't supposed to die ended up allowing other people to also not die. And no good. No good.
He has a backstory, but before we actually get to the Mortician, someone has to die first. And that guy is Todd. He's at home in the bathroom.
Poor Todd.
You know, average day.
Oh,
The toilet
no,
is leaking, and water
Todd.
spreads across the floor. He almost slips a few times. I mean, he just misses the spilling water and goes about his evening cutting some hair out of his nose. But then he starts taking clothes off a clothesline strung above his bathtub. This is the point where Death would, in any sane universe, just stop his heart. Death is omnipotent,
You
and
would
he
think.
can pick any method he wants. He picks the clothesline. Todd slips and falls forward, rips the clothesline off the wall, and it loops around his neck. Now, he's hanging in his own bathtub and choking, and he tries to climb out. The shampoo and conditioner he just knocked over have spilled into the tub. Whoopsie! There goes traction. He reaches for the scissors on the sink, doesn't quite get there, and he suffocates 39 days after Flight 180. That is what an omnipotent...
So, okay. So, I agree that had to be one of the, like... Okay. You're telling me, Todd, let's assume Todd weighs like 150 at the least, right? You're telling me a clothesline. Yes, it might cut into your neck or whatever because it's thin, right? But you're telling me you wouldn't snap that clothesline? Like, it wouldn't just snap under the weight, or there's nothing there that you could have grabbed, or you couldn't just stand up? Like, I mean, like, it's not like you were hanging or dangling. I don't know. It just seemed like a very, like, cheap way to kill off a character.
Entity decided was the optimal way to kill a teenager. Now, zoom out. Death could have done this in 2 seconds, but he didn't. He engineered a sequence involving a toilet leak, a clothesline, 2 bottles of healthcare product, a sink full of scissors that were almost but not quite reachable, and a precise sequence of slips. Every step had to land. If the conditioner doesn't spill, Todd climbs out. If the scissors are 6 inches closer, Todd cuts the cord. If the leak doesn't start an hour earlier, Todd doesn't slip in the first place. This is the franchise's actual antagonist, and it's more or less coincidence. And I absolutely love it. It gets even better in Final Destination 5. Olivia goes in for laser eye surgery. Her head is clamped, and she's squeezing a teddy bear out of nervousness.
Oh, boy.
Scary, right? The bear's glass eye pops out and falls on the floor. Meanwhile, the doctor leaves to grab a file. A cup of water she left on a water cooler tips over because the cooler bubbles. The water hits the laser machine's outlet, and she tries
Wait. Okay. So, hear me out too about this. It's always the smallest things that get a person killed, right? It's always like the coin or the little eye. But in this case, also, why did it just start bubbling? Like, why was it able to bubble that much to the little
the emergency
things?
stop and knocks the remote to the floor, which presses the activation button. The laser burns through her eye and then her hand. Wait, hold up, her eye laser's actually that strong? I'm rocking negative 2.5 contacts right now, but I'll definitely keep them my whole life if this is the only other way to fix them. Back to Olivia though. She gets off the table and she's in high heels. Of course, she's in high heels. And she trips on the teddy bear eye. She falls out the window, lands on a car, and her actual eye rolls into the road and gets run over by a different car.
What?
I have no idea how I'm going to show all of this on screen yet without all that. Should have thought about that sooner, actually. Enjoy the blurs if that's what we end up using. Maybe we'll use badly drawn PNGs.
Thank you.
Anyway, Death engineered all of that. Death could have stopped her heart in the elevator on the way up, but he chose the teddy bear. The Rube Goldberg kills are the franchise's signature, and people show up for them. And every single one of them is Death deliberately picking the slowest option available. That means we gotta give it to them, right? They make entertainment by making it look like freak accidents that could happen in everyday life. She kind of deserved
that one.
And because they're freak accidents, everything you see in the movie builds tension. We're not gonna question it if it makes any sense. Well, that would be one thing if Death's rules didn't contradict themselves and keep creating new ones. But what are those rules? In Final Destination 1, the rules are there are no rules in the order they would have died on the plane. Save someone, Death skips them and goes to the next person in line. Alex saved Carter, Billy dies next. Clean rule, right? Then, in Final Destination 2, a brand new rule. New life cancels Death's chain. Pregnant women giving birth, people drowning and getting resuscitated, anyone whose existence wasn't supposed to happen yet. They all count. The mechanic was not mentioned in the first film, and the first film also had none of those things, which was probably lucky for them. Then, in Final Destination 3, the warning signs are now photographs. Wendy takes pictures at a carnival, and the pictures predict the deaths. Photographs were also not a rule in films 1 and 2. They just are now. Then, in Final Destination 5, the biggest change. You can kill someone to take their time. Just murder another human being and Death adds their remaining years to your account. This rule has never existed before, and Sam and Peter find out about it in a conversation with the mortician. I'll still come back to this mortician later.
Wait a minute. We kill someone, we get their life? Is that what you're telling me?
And from there, the movie basically turns survival into a murder economy. Nathan accidentally kills someone, Peter takes the rule very literally, Sam ends up killing Peter to save Molly. Every film adds another loophole, and somehow, Bloodworth is always standing nearby, explaining Death like he's worked in customer service for the afterlife. He shows up in 4 of the 6 films. He's the guy who walks into the scene.
He's Death. We figured it out, guys. We cracked the code. That is Death. Death incarnate. Ha!
Explains the rule the writers just invented and walks out. He never explains where he learned any of it, and he never explains why Death lets him walk around freely telling everyone the rulebook. Tony Todd plays him with the perfect amount of do not ask me follow-up questions. For 25 years, he's just there. The franchise's rules guy, and he's cool. Then Bloodlines came out in 2025. Turns out Bloodworth was at the Skyview restaurant in 1969. He was a small child. A woman named...
So Bloodlines, so fun fact, this was the most recent one I watched, well, because most recent Final Destination, but this is definitely going to add a lot of rewrites and continuity errors, because yeah, the whole thing, like, with them having generations of kids, and some people, like, supposed to be set free, but end up dying anyways, or just, you know. Anyways.
Iris had a vision that the building was about to collapse and got a group of people out, including young Bloodworth. Death has been hunting their descendants ever since. Bloodworth survived because the rules say Death can't touch him until Iris and all her descendants are dead. Bloodworth has been a survivor this whole time, and he spent more than 50 years walking around watching other people die because Iris saved him in 1969, and the Order has not caught up to him yet. The franchise just retconned its own oldest character into the foundation of the entire universe, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm right about the retcon, that means the universe didn't have a foundation until 2025. The rules Bloodworth had been explaining for 25 years weren't real. Is that so? Well, I have no idea, actually. I'm a guy making subpar videos on YouTube. Don't expect me to have too much knowledge. But the survivors? You can expect more of them. They could have ended all of this in week 1. But how? Well, How to Beat had already laid it out before. You can just beat him off. F***ing beat Death. Step 1, stop driving. Death has used cars in every single film. You do not need a car. Walk. Step 2, stop using electricity.
Okay. He's killed people just walking too. Like, he don't stop at, like, just cars. Come on.
Loves a frayed wire. Cut the power to your house. Light by candlelight. Actually, no, candles are fire. Death loves fire. Live in the dark. Step 3, no salons, no gyms, no tanning beds, no laser eye surgery, no carnivals, no tower bridges, no Comic-Con, no racetracks. You can live without a six-pack. Step 4, padded room. Lock the door, get a bedpan, order delivery, and expect every package for sharp objects. The delivery guy stays outside. That is a survivable life. Well, at least it was 100 years ago. Nowadays, we can't live without arguing with strangers online or doom scrolling on TikTok for at least 3 hours a day. But what does the franchise have its survivors do? Carter, having survived the train tracks once, takes a Paris vacation with Alex and Clear. A bus crashes, a sign falls, and Carter pushes Alex out of the way. The sign swings back and crushes Carter. The number on the sign, 180, backwards. The same pattern across every film. People who watch their friends die in elaborate accidents will, within a few days, return to gyms, salons, racetracks, swimming pools, and roller coasters, voluntarily. The script has them do it because if they didn't, the film would last 15 minutes. If any of these characters had locked themselves in a padded room in the bedpan, they would still be alive. They wouldn't feel alive, but they'd be alive. Bloodworth would have nobody to lecture, and the films would have to end. Or Death would just take my suggestion and start stopping hearts. Am I talking in circles right now? Hear me out, though.
Back to my previous theory. Money! But yeah, no. Like, it's very easy for all of us to jump to the conclusion that, yes, there's smarter ways to do things, but two things. One, some people genuinely just aren't good under pressure. They make bad choices. Some people just really make stupid choices. So we'll put those people into one category that would just die genuinely for something like that, right? And then two, it's a show. It's a movie. Like, I see it all the time, right? People watching YouTube videos or whatever of like Chicago Fire Department or Chicago PD or just stuff like that, right? And they get all upset over the way a character handled something in the show. And my biggest issue with that is it's a character in a show. The show, A, does things because it needs to make money, and B, it's a fictional character. It's like getting mad at someone in a play, like an actor in a play for, killing off another person in a play. It's a play. So, back to this.
Is the moment where the rules are supposed to matter, where someone says, follow these specific instructions and you survive. Bloodworth has been showing up for 25 years explaining the order, and nobody listens. The rules don't actually do anything, which the franchise knows. The franchise is known for 25 years, and it kept trying to fix it. Every fix made it worse. Final Destination 4 was called The Final Destination. The title was doing some heavy lifting. The lore had gotten messy, and the studio basically gave it a name that read like a tombstone. It came out in 2009, and critics hated it. The studio took 2 years to figure out what to do. Then, in 2011, Final Destination 5 came out with a pretty clever fix. For the entire film, we think Sam and Molly are post-Flight 180 survivors of a bridge collapse. The mortician explains the kill someone take their time rule, the bodies pile up, and Sam and Molly make it out. They board a plane to Paris to start their new life. The plane, oh my god, is Flight 180. The fix was to make Final Destination 5 a prequel. Sam, Molly, and the other survivors are the people sitting near Alex Browning at the start of the first film, and the bridge collapse happens before Flight 180. Every survivor we just watched fight for their life dies in the original explosion. That is a great twist, right? It also means the film just retconned the survivors of the first film into part of an even bigger order that came before, which is great for the twist, but bad for the rules because, if Death runs sequences forward through Flight 180 in Destination 1 and forward through the bridge in Destination 5, the bridge survivors are the Flight 180 victims, then Death is running 2 overlapping queues across the same people at the same time and somehow keeping the paperwork straight. Death should, oh my god, please do my taxes.
Maybe multiple deaths?
Well, right? For 14 years, no Final Destination film. The series quietly died. Or, so you thought. Then, in 2025, Bloodlines came out. The fix this time was the generational reset. Iris Campbell has a 1969 vision of the Skyview collapse, and she saves dozens of people, including young Bloodworth. Death hunts their descendants for the next 56 years.
One thing I'm actually curious about, right? So, what if someone dies from old age? Does that count towards death's kill thing, or not? Because, if someone dies from old age, and Death technically didn't have the, kill, would he still then go after the bloodlines? Or would everyone in the bloodline be set free? Interesting question.
Iris's granddaughter Stefani inherits the vision, and the order now runs across bloodlines, which is, again, a great twist. Also, again, bad for the rules. Because if Death has been hunting Iris's family since 1969, then the Flight 180 deaths in every other Final Destination disaster were happening while Death was already mid-job on the Skyview Descendants, which means Death has been juggling multiple multi-generational cues across 6 films and 4 decades.
Multiple
The audience
deaths.
clapped harder, Bloodlines made a lot of money, and the franchise is back. Did anyone come back for the rules? No. The rules are now worse than they are in 2009, and people came back because the kills came back. Bloodlines has its own absurd opening Rube Goldberg sequence at the Skyview, and that's what got the audience in the door. Every fix has made the lore more incoherent, and every fix has also made the franchise more popular, which is the whole point, and the lore was never doing the work. And if the lore wasn't doing the work, what is? Honestly, Final Destination's actual product is a particular kind of dread. The kind where you sit in a salon chair and the chair feels different now. Okay, what a horrible way to describe it. Let me try again. It's more or less like suddenly seeing plane crashes on your feet the moment you step into your flight. That particular kind of dread where, statistically you're good, but still some feeling of dread lingers with every bit of turbulence and every sound you convince yourself the plane has never made before. That feeling does not care about the rules. It cares that the same things that kill people in this franchise are the same things that almost killed you last Tuesday. The closer the franchise stays to that feeling, the better it works. The further it gets, and the more it has to invent a mortician. The proof is in Final Destination 2. The open sequence on Route 23. Kimberly Corman is driving onto a highway entrance ramp, and a logging truck.
So, fun fact about this one. This was incredibly famous scene. So, for those of you that don't know about this logging scene, which I'm sure he'll explain, but I won't give you the back lore. So, this scene made so many people fearful of driving behind logging trucks because of this. Like, it got so bad that you could immediately know if someone saw the movie based on how they drove around these logging trucks, because people just wouldn't drive behind them. They were horrified. And it's crazy because there was a similar effect with the movie Jaws. I know that's a different movie, but like that movie prevented people from going into oceans. Like, people were horrified of sharks. So like, it's really cool that like movies can do that to you. They can like give a bunch of people like that fear that they never had prior just by introducing them to it. It's kind of cool that like something so simple that we do every day, like watching a movie like that, can instill that much of a change. All right, back to this.
Truck ahead loses its load. Logs hit the pavement, and logs slam through the windshields. SUVs flip, and a garbage truck plows through cars. A gas tank ignites, and the highway turns into a fireball. There is no mortician in that scene. There was no kill someone take their time rule being explained. There was a truck full of logs and a highway, and physics doing what physics does on a highway when logs are loose. God,
Valid.
it has been called the greatest car crash scene in movie history. It works because death is not in it. Death doesn't have to be in it. The accident is what death does in real life, and the film is just pointing at it, like, hi. Every time the franchise has tried to add rules that add to that feeling, the rules have weakened the feeling. The trick is the chaos, and the lore is the cleanup, which brings us back to Bloodlines. Tony?
I would actually, just to give my opinion on it, I would actually argue that one of the biggest things, too, is trying to understand it. One of the things that I would say hooks an audience is that need to understand. Because if you think about it, right? Like, obviously there's some cadence, and then there's, like, other stuff where it's loose cadence. But figuring out why and what is, like, set in stone and what isn't, I feel like that does play a big part in what hooks a lot of people to this.
Todd played Bloodworth across 4 films in 25 years. He died in November of 2024, rest in peace. But Bloodlines came out 6 months later, with Bloodworth in it for the last time, and a backstory the character had been waiting his whole life to get. The film is dedicated to him. The franchise grew up, and the character became someone the franchise was clearly going to miss. Bloodworth's last scene is the franchise submitting on screen that the character was always doing more emotional work than rulebook work. He was the one person across the entire universe who had been told he could not die yet, and he was tired. He deserves some rest. And it tells you what the franchise has actually always been doing. Final Destination is a Rube Goldberg machine, and the story doesn't matter, and neither do the rules. Bloodworth exists to walk in between set pieces and explain why the next set piece is allowed. We did not watch 6 films because we needed to know why Iris saved Bloodworth in 1969. We don't care about that part. We watched 6 films for the log truck, the tanning bed, the clothesline in the bathtub, the chain reaction in the kitchen, the laser eye surgery, and the teddy bear's eye in the road. And we always knew, nobody walks into a Final Destination film for the lore or things to make sense. They give us the kills and we forgive the rules.
Nah, we watched it for Bloodworth. Don't let him confuse you. Bloodworth was the main character. He was the one, he is him.
That is the reason the franchise has run for 6 films, and that is what the intro promised. It has nothing to do with death. The kills are the franchise. So, does Final Destination make sense? No. Does it have to make sense? No. Do slow-walking killers make sense? No. They should crawl instead of walk. But
well, actually, fun fact about that, Jason does run and sprint in some scenes, and so do other characters. So, like other killers. So, I mean, potato. But, yeah, I get what he's saying. So, okay. Yes, it doesn't necessarily have to make sense, but there should be some sense to it. There should be some.
why? Well, I actually go over that in an entirely separate video that you should definitely watch. You should absolutely watch it. I think it's pretty great. So click here to find it.
Well, that was interesting. So, I think he did an amazing job. I do like his little, like, character that he made. It's really cool. And, like, so to break it down, right? Like, yes, Final Destination, like, and other movies like that and shows, they don't, like, have to make a whole lot of sense. Like, I mean, if we even look back into, like, Family Guy, right? Family Guy killed off Brian for, geez, maybe like 4 episodes. It was a very short time. And the fan base lost it. And they were so dedicated to making it like he'll never come back. Like, Stewie had broke the time machine, everything, right? But because of the backlash, they brought him back. And so, yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense that they would try to kill off a character and go through all that trouble to bring it back. Like, there's a lot of things that don't make sense, right? Like, but sort of do. Like, but the point is, right, is like, I still think things should make sense. Like, because they still found a way to do it. Like, even though Stewie had destroyed the time machine, couldn't find all that stuff, like, they were still able to run across another alternate Stewie, and therefore, like, it worked itself out. But, like, I do feel like stuff should have some cadence of sense. Anyways, if you all enjoyed the video, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, comment, like, subscribe, let me know what you thought about it. And again, please be sure to check out Cheeky Chucky's channel and his original video. Please support the original creator. Again, I just do responses and give my own, like, analytical opinion and my own fun spin on it. But please do be there to support the original creator, and I will leave a link to their channel down below. So go show them some support, and without further ado, thank you so much for watching, and peace out, everybody.